My guest today is Tara Jacobsen, and we had a fantastic conversation all around business and mindset and skill sets. You're going to learn so much. Tara, how can people find out about you?
You can get in touch with us on our website, so groei.com.au, or Facebook or Instagram, or get in touch with me on LinkedIn.
Yeah, fantastic. Stay right through to the end. I'm Robin Cook. This is Stories from the Red Couch. I know you'll love it. I'm really interested, and you've worked with hundreds of small to medium business owners.
Many hundreds,
yeah. People often have a disparate range of work and educational experiences that kind of collide and bring together an opportunity for them to have that skill set in their, when they start their own businesses or later in their working life. What do you see as a valuable skill set that small to medium business owners need?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, because I've had quite a few conversations about this actually, and I'm a small to medium business owner, so I struggle with that myself. But I think what's been interesting is I think there's been a misconstrue around what actually is good skill set for small business owners, and I think I was actually having a conversation with a fellow the other day around this issue with the tech startup space,
yes,
and what we believe is a good skill set. And so they're getting investments into young guys. They've got the jeans, sneaker, t-shirt look, which is fabulous. Mm-hmm. They work to produce a fabulous piece of tech that then either gets sold and they then grow their business, and often if they're successful, they'll take off to Silicon Valley, so we get a brain drain, which is an issue as well. Or they actually don't have the skills to run a business, because a lot of the things around the government these days is they're giving all these handouts, and they get given money. They never had to actually work for how to actually create a business that can sustain itself. So I've had just so many conversations around this lately, and what's interesting, the stats that are coming out now, that 40 to 50-year-olds are the most successful small business owner starters, because they come in with all that life experience.
Yes.
And so one of the conversations we're having was particularly around, well, how do we help youth? Not necessarily tech startup youth, but how do we help youth understand what they have to learn to develop? And even if we can be helping schools teach that. The talk's often around what is an entrepreneurial mindset, but I actually don't think small business owners think that they are entrepreneurs.
Well, I agree with you.
Because
I've been a small business owner forever.
Yeah.
And I would never put myself into that entrepreneurial space.
And they don't tag themselves or call themselves an entrepreneur. They say, I'm a small business owner.
That's right.
I think, let's just take 40 to 50-year-olds, for example, that are considered by stats now the most successful small business owners, starters and sustainers. I mean, once you get past that second or third year, you're pretty in a position to get to year 5, and year 5 you're starting to get pretty stable. You get past that, I've solved a problem for a customer, it's the right customer, you're kind of beyond that space and now starting to build out a bit of structure around your business. 40 to 50-year-olds have generally often come from corporate life before they go and start a business, or they may have been part of a family business earlier on, and then they go off to corporate and they come back. They've got a whole bunch of work experience about how to actually manage people, understand how to actually flex their behaviour to fit inside a group. Particularly in small business, you have to, in a way, learn to work within a whole range of people and groups and customer base and things like that. So that age group has learned how to do that, embrace diversity generally. I suppose the only downside is that they've generally worked in corporate environment and haven't had to, I guess, hustle for money.
Yeah, we'll do all of the jobs themselves, because there's lots of little nitty-gritty kind of jobs that maybe they haven't done.
Yeah, so, but look, I think at the end of the day, in the world that will be the future of business, I think having a really curious mind, I think is really important, because the world's just changing so fast. I mean, that widget that you were looking to sell is probably going to be irrelevant in 5 years' time.
Yeah, that's exactly
no one's
right.
going to want it.
And that's the same with education too, in the sense that you can just learn this software or that tech or that tech.
Yeah.
But the things that make us human, and you wrote about that, you've written about that, haven't you? What makes us human human and what is humanity in business. So tell me a little bit about that.
So I'm writing a book around the importance of being human, which is coming from some of the research I'm doing around how is business going to be affected with the rise of technology, particularly artificial intelligence, but we look at any enabling tech, VR, ER, all that sort of stuff. And so I sort of think that for us to be relevant in business in the future, and this isn't for 50 or 100 years, this is 10 years, maybe 5 years. I mean, I'm already working with businesses, law firms and accounting firms particularly, because they'll be the first to be disrupted, that are putting AI into their businesses. And they're saying, I don't want to lose our humanism, we don't want to lose our people, we actually don't want to, we're not doing this to have less staff, we're actually doing this to have more staff and grow our business. So how do our people integrate with AI, work with AI? What's going to make humanism different in the future of business? So I sort of am building out a bit of a framework, and there's a German group of professors that are building this concept called leading intelligence mindset, which is what's the mindset to lead artificial intelligence, essentially. And they're sort of saying judging, because technology can't necessarily judge. So good judging and perception skills, compassion, curiosity. Compassion, I think, is a huge human component that, AI is never, or not if ever, for a long time, it's not going to be able to do.
No, well, even some people don't have it.
No, well, that's true. That's what I mean. These have to be learned skills.
They do.
I think the issue has been, these things have been what people call soft skills.
Yes.
And they're not. They're actually the new hard skills of the future.
Absolutely. I agree with you entirely. I don't think soft is the right word.
I hate it.
At all.
Yeah. So, it's compassion, judging, perceiving. It's not complex problem solving. AI will do that. We don't need to be good at that. We need to be curious. Judging is very good around, we now have so much information. Our fingertips, really, from a small business owner perspective, it's so easy to start one.
Yeah.
Because there's so many free ways that you can set up your accounting systems, your marketing. You can engage your customer through very cheap or free platforms. You can do your own logo now. You can design your own website. You used to have to pay people to do all of that before. So cheap. So that's kind of the easy stuff. But, let's say you Google small business help, there's thousands of things that come up. So I think our skill needs to be now we need to be judging information. We don't just believe everything we Google.
Well, that's true too. So in my, in the process of developing Stories from the Red Couch, for instance, I've been looking at business mentors and advisors and who should I talk to, and there are hundreds. There's hundreds of pieces of information, and it's right from the Seth Godin kind of people down to the person down the road who offers business advice. It's very hard.
It is.
So what sort of things should we be looking at if for me, for instance, how do I choose someone to help me with my business?
Oh, look, to be honest with you, I think that's actually a really hard choice. And actually, to be honest with you, I don't know if you can. I mean, traditionally it's been a person that's referred you that you like, particularly for when you're a kind of a small business, so there's only a few of you in the business. It's someone that can kind of gets what you're trying to achieve, and can actually, I guess it's also deciding whether you want a coach or a mentor. A mentor is kind of there cheering you on, sort of tweaking, suggesting, nudging. A coach is literally saying, here's how you play on the football field, and
this is what you do next.
And here's the tactics.
Yes.
They might be, but often what's the problem with most coaches is that's their tactics, and their tactics have worked, and you need to do it my way. And I guess that's been my challenge with coaches in the past, or people that call themselves business coaches. To me, it's about having a framework that actually a business owner can curate their way through and access, I guess, good vetted advisors at the right time. When a business owner is awake at 1 o'clock in the morning and they've got a sheer pain about something in their business, it's like they need a place to be able to go and ask either other like-minded business owners, because quite frankly, peer coaching is way more powerful.
And we have that here on the Sunshine Coast. It's everywhere, isn't it? You work in regional and rural areas too, and that's part of what you've been helping those areas set up.
It's trying to create I don't like the word ecosystem, because there's the whole thing about businesses is kind of like cliched little terms that are coming out, and ecosystem's a fabulous word, but it's being overused, and again it comes off that startup space again. And but I guess community and regionals. There's a fabulous guy who, if anybody ever wants to find out about him, Chad Renato, he's done a lot of work around ecosystems, but particularly in the regional space. And he talks about a term called density. And he said that that in regional areas we really lack density of knowledge, content, peers. I mean, often a lot of businesses in regional areas are the only one in that region, and they've got really no one they can talk to. So I share the example about when I was in Sydney recently, and I was hanging out with my brother. My brother's the CEO of a financial services business, or managing director, whatever, I don't know.
Some title.
Whatever. Sydney, they all have all these strange titles. Anyway, he's in charge. And it was interesting just spending the weekend with him because we'd had barbecues and we went to kids' football matches and kids' basketball matches, and there was a constant hum about business decisions, and so they would be having a brief chat about some issue that happened in his business, and his mate said, well, this is what I did, or maybe you should talk to such and such.
Yes.
And so he had built a density of community of like-minded business peers, non-competing. Some were in that government actually, some were in small businesses, some were in large businesses, some were in corporate. That every moment of every day he was nudging, tweaking, having a little conversation, and it's what I call social capital, and it's kind of those invisible threads that help a business grow or a business owner develop. And for a business owner to be able to engage in that, I mean, it comes back to that original question you asked. They need to have that curiosity, that judgment-free need to kind of go.
And generosity too, because you said that there were non-competing businesses there, but in a small area you're going to have competing businesses, and generosity has to come with that.
And I think that's a real mindset. And you think about that, we talk about mindset shift that needs to happen for small business owners, and I have this conversation all the time. And I've got 20 business owners on a peer coaching call, for example, and one will get off and go, I don't want to be on there because such and such is in my same area and they're competing with me. And I'm like, actually, that's not the world of work. The world of work is about collaboration.
Yes, and you have to find your point of difference, don't you? Why would they go to you and not them? And if the client isn't right for you, then you can refer them.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen social capital work so powerfully. I mean, two hairdressers that are just down the road from each other, for example, and when we taught them how to actually think like this, one was referring staff when they were short-staffed, one referring clients, because what they did was went, okay, well, what are we good at? What's our real, and what makes us happy and gives us passion? And, well, that's our unique identifier, and that's ours. And these two hairdressing salons actually grew successfully in the same town because of the partnership and collaboration.
That's a wonderful example, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you could find them very competitive.
Probably often the worst.
Horribly so.
But that, breaks all norms. And I see that all the time. I mean, you kind of think that businesses owners are going to behave a certain way and they actually behave differently. Yeah. Half the time, and this is why I'm talking about this density, it's actually, they just don't know what they don't know, and sometimes just exposing them. It's like, I was watching one of your earlier episodes about travelling to Slovenia, and I travel a lot. And if you always live in the one place and never go outside of your world, how do you know that different foods taste great or different cultures? I mean, a fellow you had was talking about culture, and until you're actually exposed to that, you actually don't know that that's a way of doing something different.
That's right.
I suppose that's the point that why I think peer learning and peer coaching, and I don't even like the word coaching, but peer learning works really well with small business owners, because it's like going, oh, you're like me, and you're doing it like that, and that's really working for you. How do you do that? Oh, well, I did that because I collaborated with the same business in the same industry. Oh, how did you make that work? And so it's that density of peer conversation, and to me, it's not necessarily about a great business coach. I actually think it's a facilitator that can kind of make a community be a conduit or the glue for a business community to work together.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what we're trying to build with Groei is kind of, I guess, be great facilitators of lots of a business community.
And that's interesting too, because you in developing your businesses, if you were to look at Tara's LinkedIn profile, you're going to see a few things there. But what you were explaining was the framework that you've put together so people can access different elements of what you do.
Yeah.
Tell me, how important is it for a business owner to step back and say, well, what will the framework be that people can access the different parts of my work?
Yeah. So I guess the framework that we're building, which we want it to be across Australia and New Zealand, is about creating density, but that when a business owner wakes up at 1 o'clock in the morning and goes, this is what's keeping me awake. They can get onto our site effectively and connect into the community and go, oh, I've got this pain point, who's doing what? So I guess there's a bunch of components about the framework, but we're sort of building two communities, a provider community and an SME community across Australia. How people come into that community will be through partners. We'll be partnering with different organisations to feed people into that. And so obviously the SME community can they can have profiles on there, they'll be sharing ideas, they'll be saying, well, this is where I live, this is what I want to do, who else has got ideas around this? And then the provider community can also provide that support down to, and actually what we're already seeing is the providers are forming joint ventures to create new businesses.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It's kind of like be the facilitator of the community and then know when to walk away or when to push back again and to step out. So that's kind of the main thing, but embedded underneath all of that is a learning framework. And I think one of the other issues with coaches, and I talk about this all the time, is I think business owners need to learn how to fish, not actually have the fish given to them. And I guess that's inherently been an issue in the startup world sometimes. I won't say all the time, but coaches' best interest is to keep giving it a fish because then they keep getting paid.
Sure. Do you think that's changed over the last few decades? Because I remember when we started our first business in 1982, it was a photo library in Brisbane. Yeah. And I recall at the time thinking, oh, I wish there was someone that could help us. I wish that we could find some startup funding so that I didn't have to stay on Centrelink while we were building a business and so forth. There didn't seem to be much of that around.
No, there's a lot of it now.
And there's so much of it now.
Unfortunately, though, it's more geared towards tech startups.
Yeah.
I mean, interesting, I was talking to some angel investors here on the Sunshine Coast and also some of the banks. So when people want to start their business or grow their business, is kind of they go and look for money, or I work while I start it, or I have a husband or a wife that funds it while I grow it.
Sure.
And actually the general reasons why a company doesn't, or a business owner doesn't get given funding was generally because they don't have cash flow or can't demonstrate cash flow.
Yes.
They have no strategy and real clear picture of the future, and they don't have the management competencies to actually make that strategy work. And I think in the framework that we're building, we're hopefully providing a space to do that and actually helping them learn how to drive their own strategy, learn the management competencies that they need so that they can actually build up their toolbox and their kit bag too.
Because it's not a measure of your success if you don't know how to do it.
No.
A measure of success is to go and find out how to do it.
And your ability to get past again, this is another term I don't like, the imposter syndrome, but that I can do it, but I'm actually feeling like I'm a fraud. And I don't know how many times in coaching groups I've heard people go, I can go and learn it, but then they don't actually go and learn it. Carol Dweck talks around growth mindset and the difference between fixed and growth mindset. A growth mindset person goes, I don't know it, I'll go figure it out. And the next minute I'm producing a podcast or I've designed my own website and I didn't even know how to do that before, but I've done it. Whereas the fixed mindset says, I can't start a business because I don't know how to do a website, or I can't afford to start it because I don't want to learn how to do a website, for example. So I think that comes back to that kind of mindset of a business owner as well. So.
Tara, how can people find out more about your work? Where can they find you?
Well, we're still early stages, funnily enough. I mean, groei. I mean, my work that I'm doing, obviously LinkedIn's probably the best place to find me, but and that's more around people, culture, leadership. So working with business owners in terms of growing their businesses around people and more humanism in the business. But groei is actually our startup, and it's still. We're sort of building out our platforms and our system and our framework, but we've already got people going, how can we join?
Okay.
So to answer your question,
that's exciting.
We have a website, which is just a landing page, but we're now building that out, and we'll be launching in the next couple of months the community that we're building, and so the website's the best place to start. And I guess probably the other cool thing is on the website we've created a map. So groei is all about going on a journey. So a lot of our branding is about hiking and travelling and all that, so it's climbing mountains. And so we've built a map And the map is a 25. It's not about business life cycle. It's about helping you understand business complexity as you grow. And we've done what the guys did with the Lean Canvas. We actually made it Creative Commons, so anybody can download it and use the map. So that's probably a great place to start. Is download the tool, the map, and have a play with it, and just see, okay, well, which of this works for me, and if you want to know more, just get in touch. And you know,
fantastic.
We also have, if you get onto our Facebook page, there's we're doing lots of events and strategy days, and actually every fortnight I'm running a fireside chat, a virtual fireside chat. So any business at no cost can dial in and just have a chat with all the other, hopefully other business owners that just jump on and are going, well, I just want to hear what everybody else is doing, who's doing what, and so that's building that peer learning environment for business owners. So if you get on our Facebook page, you can get the Zoom link and join me every second Monday night on our fireside chat.
Oh, I think I might join that.
I'd love to. Yeah, I mean, and again, it's just me facilitating a group of business owners having a conversation around their opportunities, challenges, issues, and I'll be doing breakout rooms. So hopefully if I get a group of people that have got the same pain point, well, I'll send you out over there and you can go and have a chat. And
that's brilliant.
Yeah, so that's probably the best way to engage with us to get started.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining me. My guest today was Tara Jacobsen, and I think there's so much that you can go and have a look at. Thank you for joining us. I'll see you next week.
And actually means growth in Dutch.
Oh, okay.
But the Dutch go, is that? Because I ran a strategy day last week, and we had a couple of business owners in, one South African and one Dutch, and he went, good.